All right. Welcome to the Pat Life podcast.
Yeah, thanks, Pat.
You're welcome, man. I'm super excited about this one. I will give him the floor, but I have the honor of being with Kevin Lilly, fitness guru out in LA. Real quick, Kevin, just tell us a little bit about how you got on this path as a trainer and where you are now.
Sure. Well, first, Pat, thanks for having me on. I really admire what you do, and to me, like when I think about how I can eventually affect the fitness world for the better, I think it's through podcasts. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk to you about it, and obviously pick your brain a bit too. But how I got here. Well, that's a really interesting question, right? How do we all get here? I got here when I had a passion for sports growing up, as many trainers do, and taking that passion, it was then the effort to always get better. And the effort to always get better led me into the gym and led me into training. And then, it was really, I just felt like the more I put into it, the more I got out of it. And that started to teach me lessons. So sports to me actually was one of my first teachers and one of my best teachers, in the main thing in life. The more you put in, the more you get out. And so after school, I had gone to school for finance. I really was, wanting to live my Wolf of Wall Street dream world. And, but then something was calling me back to the gym. In the gym, I felt like I could serve people. In the gym, I felt like I was constantly present. And then that Wolf of Wall Street world, that finance world, that New York City hustler world just seemed like it was going to lead me down a path that I didn't necessarily want to go on. So I followed my gut instinct and started working in the fitness business. And that was 17 years ago, 18 years ago. And I love it, man. I love everything about it. I love the hustle and the bustle of the fitness game. But like I said, what's really been my calling since day one, and it continues to grow and it continues to deepen, is my call to service, to really try and help others, with the physical body. But the physical body is oftentimes the mental state of mind, right? And that's kind of it has shaped my career, but has brought me to right here. And a lot of what I teach now is about not only exercising in the body, but exercising in the mind and performance. So here we are.
Dude, awesome, man. There's a lot of similarities on our paths, minus the finance world, but just to hear you talk and pick your brain, you said being able to help coach not just the physical, but that mental journey as well. So being that you're in LA, being that you're dealing with a lot of people, that material body is the thing. How do you approach when people come to you and say, Kevin, I want these goals? Like, how do you get them started on that journey? Is there some sort of, protocol that you have, or how do you go about it essentially?
No, that's the thing, man. And it's like what I do when you try to define what people do in my field, the kind of self-help situation that my career has developed into, I find that as soon as you label it along those paths, it gets some type of connotation to it. And I think people's egos already get involved, right? Like, oh, do I need help? Is this right? And so, people come to me with the physical body goals, and that's amazing. And that's how most of my clientele starts off. And that's the direction it will always maintain. But really, the gym is just my musical instrument to teach people what they're capable of, right? And so I look at it like a dance. It's a dance that I'm leading, and that they're trusting in me. But it's to deepen that trust, and to deepen that trust to eventually get them in a position where they feel comfortable to tell me and share with me why they're not achieving what they want to achieve. Right. And, but all on the surface level of increasing the vitality in the physical body. Right. So it's two things happening at once. And, I've had many clients that we don't ever get to that level of talking about human performance.
Hmm.
And sometimes it just stays at shoulder presses and
Right.
hamstring curls. And that's cool too, man. That's cool. But what I'm most passionate about is helping people, because I'm constantly trying to help myself. By the way, I don't fully have it figured out, as no one does. But it's that ability to learn, apply to myself, see that it's successful, and then, be able to pass that gift on. Because that's what happened to me. Someone passed that gift on to me.
Absolutely. No, dude, I'm very much on the same path as you. And just one thing that I would, if I may, one thing that I do with all my clients, talking about the constant learning, the constant growing. And when you're with somebody in such an intimate way, physically, mentally, emotionally, at a certain point, there needs to be so much honesty and truth between the two of you. And so I kind of learned over the years of I need to make this clear right off the bat to let them know what my intentions are while we go on this journey together. And so what I've always done is when I first meet people is saying,
Mm,
I'm going to be wrong at times, but I'm always going to try to find a way to work with you to figure out the best solution. To let people know that I'm good, as you said, I'm learning, I'm on this path as well of trying to be better at not only understanding the knowledge and then sharing it, but then how do I apply it and also have it make sense?
sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Because
Yeah. I
yeah.
guess my question with that is, right, is like, if you're setting, so what I call that is like, by some of the, spiritual teachers that I've had, or yoga instructors, have you ever heard the term setting the container?
No, actually.
Right. What you're doing basically what you're doing on day one is you're saying that you set the container of what the relationship is and what your expectation is out of it, right? And I admire that, man, because I think that really allows for, like, teacher student. This is not personal. We are not friends. This does not go beyond this room or whatever the walls of the container are. I think that's really impressive, man. I'll be honest with you, I haven't taken that step in my career yet, and I don't know that I'm there where I want to be in my own path yet to set that container on day one. But that's something I hope to one day feel confident in, right? Like I said, mine is still, right now I'm sitting in the gym, my original gym I opened in 2014. So mine is still very much, let's start by moving the body, getting that trust, and then, the craziest things happen when you start to clear the junk out of your life by moving the physical body.
Right.
And it just kind of organically happens when I do it. So, I think that there's something really to be said, because like I said, one of the people I go to, they set that container on me with day one, and I was like, oh, I know exactly what this relationship is. And I'm sure you've experienced it in personal training.
Yeah.
Personal training, relationships can really be misunderstood sometimes for what they are,
Yeah.
right? And again, I'm very picky about who and why I work with people now. And it's just, that's important, that it's never like, oh, this is more than what it is.
Right.
Because then it becomes a weird, I need you situation. And I
Yep.
don't want to have that responsibility with everybody. Everybody's responsible for their own health, their own
Absolutely.
mental set. I'm just here to guide and to lead that dance if you're into it. If not, I'll just count your bicep curls, and that's cool too.
Yeah. Well, you bring up such a great point that I wanted to hopefully get into, but is as you said the other day when you were talking about when you were on with Owen, you guys were talking about learning from your clients, and it's really such a great learning tool to have that. And for me, that's one of the biggest things is when you have somebody who comes in and it, from my point is, it's clear there is, as you said, that dance where there's so much bouncing back and forth, learning patience as a trainer, learning how to be in the moment with these people, right? Because I mean, there's times I can imagine when you're sitting there or watching and you see that they're not there, they're not present with the moves, their mind's wandering, and it's just like, all right, stop, stop, stop. What's going on? Where are you right now? And sometimes it's being able to be patient especially if you're repeating yourself time and time again, like, hey, slow it down, or hey, take a second, reset, breathe, because a lot of people are so caught up in the material world, and it's always like, what's always on my mind? Everything's, material. I have to look a certain way, and then I have to eat exactly this certain thing, instead of just, I don't know, just allowing yourself to be in the body, be present. And then also, as you're in the present moment, you're able to work with the people around you, I feel a little bit better. What are your anything you want to add? I know I kind of jumped around there, but
No. I think I fully get it. My question to you is just kind of, because I give this a lot of thought myself, is, my question to you becomes, why is it that you think that you have the ability to know when someone is not here, not right now,
it's a great
right?
it's a
Why
great
is
question.
it that you think you have that ability in a world where most of people aren't here? Why do you
Yeah.
feel like
Yep.
you're the rock that is here?
Through my experience, it's a great question. When I've always started with a question: are you here? And then I follow with my opinion. The reason why is, through my experience as a trainer, is that in order for me to be the best possible trainer, I need to be present. And this is where the spiritual aspect comes in, that I've learned. And it sounds like you very much understand. That's why I wanted to talk to you. Is when you understand the spiritual, you're dealing with energy, you're dealing with the frequency. And I see and feel clients, and they know this, and I had it happen today with some clients. They're like, how did you know? And I don't read the future. I can't say that at all. But what I can say is that when I'm so present with them, I've learned that I feel an energy. I feel that something isn't, it's, as you said, the gut, something seems off, and I want to address it. I want to ask it first. There's always a question. It's more so, hey, did that feel like you were in the moment? Did you feel like you were present? No, I didn't. Okay, I felt that too. Where are you? What is your mindset? Where did you go? So I'm not saying I always do it, but it's a skill that I've just tried to put more attention to.
Yeah.
So, any thoughts?
Yeah, no, it's interesting because I think about, no, well, yeah, of course, because I was hoping to learn something and I did. And I just think that, the more passionate about what it is you're doing
Right.
allows you to be here. Right. And so, for me, I think the ability to feel that energy coincides with the height of excitement that I have for what I do every day with my life. Right.
Absolutely.
So it's like, of course, there's times when I'm in the gym and I'm like, man, where's my newborn baby? Or I wonder how my wife's feeling today. And, I slightly go outside of here, but it's rare, man. It's rare. Like, and I love it. I haven't looked at a clock in my gym since 2014. In fact, I don't have a clock in the room. The only way I know what time of day it is by the people walking in and outside of the door, right? I'm
That's
like, oh,
awesome.
he's here, it's this time, or he's here, it's that time. And I think, people's ability for being right here,
Mhm.
right, is how passionate about what it is they're doing. And that's just not meaning what you get a paycheck from.
Yep.
That's not just like, oh, like, Owen, I'm passionate about comedy. Yeah. It's
Right.
like, okay, but then what do you go home and do?
Yep.
What do you go home and do? And the present is here in the moment. And I remember one of my first yoga teachers said to me, they're like, name an activity when there's no voice in your head. And I was like, I'm not sure I understand what you're saying. He's like, when there's no voice in your head, or when you hear no sound, essentially, right? When is that? And I was like, maybe when I played college football, when a play was going on. He's like, exactly. You didn't have any other ability to be anywhere else, but just in that moment, because it was a very intense moment. He was like, right, another one, sex, if done correctly. You're in that moment. I was like, okay. And he's like, okay, where else is that happening in your life? And I'm like, oh, in the gym, always in the gym, is okay. Well, here's what you gotta understand. That's the thread that you should pull. That's the direction that you should have, right? And I was like, oh shit, like, okay. And so then it's like, so for me, I can tell because I'm so in this room, and again, no one's perfect. Like I said, thoughts, I got there a little bit,
Yeah, yeah,
fine. But for the most part, I don't want to be anywhere else than right here. So I can feel if someone else is not right here. Does
yep,
that make sense? Like,
100%.
and it's cool. And I don't think it's always got to be something intense, but you can just tell when people aren't here. And especially with what we do is we coach movement. Well, if you're coaching movement, that movement should be conscious movement,
Yep,
right? It's like, you and I could do some shoulder presses, and we have those clients who aren't actually in their body. They're somewhere
yep,
else. And dude, I've seen the reports, and I'm sure you've seen the reports, and I don't even need to see the report when Arnold used to talk about back in the 70s feeling every single fiber in his body or in his bicep during a curl.
yep,
And it's like, if you don't know that that is some of the deepest form of meditation or some of the deepest forms of present moment, then I don't know when people are going to be able to feel that if you don't feel it when you're practicing strengthening and moving your body. So that's where it's like, like you probably do. Come back. I
yep,
need you to feel this squat. One, you're not going to get the most benefits out of it. Two, you might get
mhm,
fucking hurt. And
yep,
three, this is medicine.
yep,
Movement is medicine.
absolutely,
Movement against resistance is medicine with practice for the future. Think about that,
dude.
right? It's like I'm adding resistance to my current state of being, so the future is going to be easier,
Dude, what's
right?
so
And then people are like, whoa. Yeah, the gym is more than the gym, bro.
dude, you're just hitting all these points that are just I'm getting jacked up. I'm like ready to just bust out some pull-ups here. But what's so true about that is what you guys even talked about yesterday about the stress. And that's the key is that so many people go out here for the stresses in their life, disregarding the stress directly in front of them in that moment. And that what I it was something that I found so profound is it's like, why is that stress more important than
Mm,
this one? And for many reasons, it could be they're not used to this stress, yada yada yada. But what that I
mm,
my opinion for some people is the idea of being present with the stress is a very unheard of thing for a lot of people because it's always in the head. It's always somewhere else. It's always thinking about the thing, the project or the report or the deadline 10, a week from now, right in this moment, or the thing that happened 3 days ago. But it's like, what's the stress right now? And when I've seen clients, we start to work and they feel the stress kick in, they either bail, stop, or they rush through it. And then they stop and I go, so what happened? And they're like, I knew I could have done more, or, oh, I started to panic. So it's like they know that stress is there and it's either they disregard it, they ignore it, they jump early to get out of it. So one thing that I've just constantly worked on and why I now call my
mm-hmm.
training present awareness training, Pat, is learning how to go, all right, I want you to feel stress because I want you to know that you have the power and the control in that moment if you allow yourself the chance. But we can never get that
Mm-hmm.
chance if you're always
Yeah,
trying to move around it. And that's where I've just
yeah,
my whole world opened up to my training. And that's, as I said, the spiritual side and looking at things of like the breath and having the power. It's like, we're always looking for other people to give us advice. People go, hey, you're my trainer. Here's money. Make my material body better. And as you know, and as we know, you can start off that way, but it's like, you want to look like those people. It's like, hey, how do I look like them? The thing I've come to realize is the question really is how do I believe like them? How do I truly believe that I am capable of such goals? And it starts,
yeah,
and it really starts with
yeah,
learning how to, as you said the other day with Owen, how do I allow myself to let in stress, learn how to accept the stress, not ignore it, not disregard it, accept it, and then come out of it with this new life of I can't believe I just did that, to I know I can do this. I know I could do that, and I did it. And that's the growth that I'm always aiming for
Hmm.
with clients. And it's a beautiful thing to watch them
Yeah.
on that journey. So do you have anything similar that kind of your approaches with clients? I know you said you done, that organic journey with them, but
Well, I think I think yeah, I think you mentioned something, really important there. My question, my follow up, and then with clients, I'll explain it. But so you're what you described is like strategic stress,
yeah,
right? You just described the process of it, really like explaining the depths that your clients are. You're not just at the gym for like an external, I want to look like something. That's fine if that's, but like you describe to them in detail and you can do it on a very deep, almost microbiology level
right.
of how the body's responding to that strategic stress.
Mhm.
The other stresses that exist are fear-based stress,
Yep.
right? And fears are, situations that are not real. They're in a distance or they're in the future, right?
Mhm.
And so the resistance training, the strategic stress, I feel allows you to prepare for the fear-based stress that will later come into your life,
Yep.
right? And so people don't realize why the gym makes them feel better. I was talking to a client tonight. She's like, I was just doing so much better, right? Like
Yeah.
after I was training as opposed to when I wasn't training. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, you're recalibrating your entire body.
Yeah.
Like your whole body recalibrates when you exercise. Like your whole body recalibrates when you eat a healthy food or get quality acupuncture, or spend time in nature, things that are holistically great for your body. Everything starts to recalibrate.
Yep.
Of course, you performed better after that, or of course, you feel present, or you don't know why you're happy when you're leaving the gym, And I think my approach to round that off is that when clients start to give me that feedback, like, you know what? I'm feeling better about things. I'm like, okay, let's go there. Let's talk about why that is the
Mhm.
case. And then you allow them to see, because this is the journey that I went on, right? It was like, I'm training. I love the gym. I always wanted to be in the gym, Popeye and Hulk Hogan and, Hulk the Maniac or whatever, right? And it's like all this stuff always, like, I was always attracted to it. I want to be big, muscles, whatever. But then you get in the gym and you realize it's so much more than the gym. It's so much more than just what you want to look like. You start to feel right when you do the natural things that the body was designed to do. And in 2020, there's so much fucking strategic distraction and just distraction in general to kind of forget the human body's capabilities. And
Absolutely.
by the way, if you don't use it, you lose it. So how much have we already fucking lost as this human body has evolved or disevolved over thousands of years? Right. And so I'm just like, holy shit. Like, you go from being 14 years old, entering the gym, and you got a 100-pound bench press. And then 5, 7 years later, you got a 400-pound bench press. What the fuck happened? You
Mhm.
just trained your body to have that immense and insane amount of strength. Imagine what else you're capable of when you leave the gym,
Yep.
right?
Good.
And so I think it builds a sort of confidence for people. And so I let people, that's when I let them guide the dance. When do they drop their guard to let me get in and let them know that the gym is more than the gym,
Yeah.
right? And that's like, to bring it back to the container story, I don't necessarily set that container on day one, right? Oh, this is what it is. And I'm going to show you that I'm going to increase the value of your life, right? Like, I'm not there yet. I want to get there. I truly do. It's more like, when do they pull their guard down for me to come in and be like, boom, now let's go.
Right.
Now you understand that it's way more than lat pullovers and Bulgarian split squats.
Right.
We're going to do that, but we're also going to push you to new levels.
Yep. Dude, I love everything about that, man. I know we only have so much time. If I may, just, and I think this will be important for the people listening, especially those who aren't trainers. When you're dealing with the constant, we always hear about plateaus and dealing with falling off the wagon. These are things that, we're talking all this hype about getting started, getting on that journey, starting the hero's journey in the gym. But what we hear and see and experience constantly is those plateaus and people falling off the wagon. So I guess before we go, how are some ways that you might approach your clients when they come to you with that mindset, or they say, "Oh, I did this," or "Oh, I'm falling off"?
Yeah, well, I mean, that is something that I do discuss very early on, right? Is that one, the relationship has to be fully rooted in communication. These are kind of my container on day one. So the relationship, open communication is what's going to make this thing successful, right? Secondly, my goal for you is a balanced life, right? So there's no wagon in my book necessarily, right? It's more just like, what is it that you want to do and what is it you want to achieve that will ultimately result in some happiness for you? Because if somebody comes in my gym and they don't necessarily want to, if they, I perceive that they may need to lose weight, but they don't say that as a goal, I'm not just going to make that goal for them, right? So it's like, what is it that you want to achieve in here? And then let's figure out what the best balanced version of that looks like.
Yeah.
Right. So then you figure out what the best version of that looks like. You build your confidence in each other.
Mm-hmm.
They start to trust you a bit further. And then I start to get to use my expertise to say, hey, maybe we should head in this direction, or maybe we should head this health situation in this direction, depending on what they need. But the goal is constantly got to be balanced, because if it's like we're all or nothing, you're not going to eat a carbohydrate for a month or have a beer, it's like, yeah, they're going to fall off the wagon because the wagon's not even on a fucking track. Right. The track is called routine.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you get them in a routine that they feel comfortable with? How do you get them in a routine that you feel happy with? Right? Somebody once said to me, know the program that works? The one you stick to.
Yeah.
There's no fucking one set rule here, right?
Yeah.
It's like, so the easiest way to get somebody on that track called routine is to figure out what balanced life will make them happy, and then get them on that, and then just start moving to a wider and wider routine, right? And but that's a dance, man. And it's an exhausting one as a trainer, but hell, dude, I'm rewarded with all day with love.
Yep, I hear you, man. Well, dude, I appreciate your time, man. I know you got to go see your family. How is fatherhood, real quick, before we go? How's that going for you, man?
It's so good, man. It's the best psychedelic drug I've ever taken. It drops you right in, you know, as soon as that, you know, any parents out that are listening, they know. But I have pushed myself to some extreme limits in very many ways in my life. And, you know, nothing prepares you when you're like, oh my God. And it doesn't stop. Like every time you grab your kid, it's like the same thing. And I think 36, I'm going to go have dinner with my father. I think he probably feels the same way.
That's awesome, man. Well, dude, thank you so much for your time, and have the best time with your family, man. Congratulations again. And definitely want to do this again soon if you're up for it.
Oh, Pat, that'd be great.
Awesome,
And you inspire me, and keep doing what you do, man.
dude,
Keep helping people. See you, brother.
Likewise. See you, man. Have a good one. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you again soon.